Hello, Leo. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Leo is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Leo, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And this is a Two of Pentacles. This is change. I think you're somebody who is being very proactive right now. I feel like there was a time in your life where we kind of were, I don't know if we were feeling maybe lost. We were feeling like we didn't really have everything in life that we wanted to have, or that we weren't motivated, that perhaps we didn't know what to do in order to improve our lives. This is the card of being proactive. This is the card of really like the overnight change, right? Things look like they're going from black to white, from nighttime to daytime, from the darkness out into the light, okay? So I feel like you have, you've really been on a path lately, you know? I feel that you've been taking a lot of steps in the right direction, building things up. You've been sort of on the grind, you know, working really hard. And I think a lot of good things are happening in your life right now. You're somebody that likes change when it's change that we initiate, okay? So let's see what's going on with this card. Let's see what this energy is being used for. Oh, look at that. Six of Cups. Pleasure, beauty, harmony, resonance, community, relationships, okay? Tranquility. You have a Five of Cups. You have a Knight of Cups, Five of Wands, yes, and a Seven of Wands. So this tells me that despite the Five of Cups feeling, this is that kind of feeling like sadness, sorrow, loss, disappointment with this card, that we're not giving up the fight, right? That you're matching, you're using, in a way, you're using the sadness or the disappointment as fuel for the fire. In order to get this. This looks like a crown. This looks like this is like a golden crown, right, for you. This looks like success. And we know that we have to keep fighting and we have to not give up. No matter how we feel inside, we're not losing our momentum here, okay? There we have a Tower. That is overnight change, okay? We have a Princess of Cups. We have the Moon card, and we have a Nine of Swords. You are changing your situation. You are going to be victorious over all of those shadow aspects, all of those negative vibrational energies that you might be feeling right now. To me, the Nine of Swords feels like we're separating ourselves. We're kind of like we're ripping the Band-Aid off of something, you know? It's not a gentle, slow thing. I feel like this is an overnight change. I feel like we're stepping up and we're going to hit a home run because we're tired of things being the way they were. Yeah. So to me, that Nine of Swords is really a good card here at the end, because that's showing like we've had enough and we're making these changes and we're claiming our crown. We're not going to put up with the pain and suffering anymore. We're doing something about it. And that to me feels like empowerment. It feels like a major shift in your energies right now. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it right here with Mr. Ed, the little horse, right on top. Now, we're not going to look at that card. You know what else I notice? The bottom of the stack, Nine of Swords. Well, at least we know the mystery card won't be the Nine of Swords. But I like that this is on the bottom, because now it feels like this is going to be the furthest thing from our life. This is at the bottom of the stack. You know, I like that. Anyway, if you have a prediction for that card, leave it in the comments. As we look around the room, we see two major arcana energies. We see us facing our fear, facing the darkness, facing the shadow. and being willing to take down all of our walls, all of our barriers, all of our internal blockages in order to let this light through and let this light shine. Okay? So we've got the Moon card here, and I think the Moon card is a very important doorway card. We're going to do a divine doorway affirmation card or oracle card. Forgive and forget. A ritual cleansing of pain and lies, arise and awaken. See a new sunrise. Well, yeah, that's what's going on in that Moon card, see? If we start with the Moon card today, we realize that there is darkness. And that's we're sort of afraid. We're human beings. We're naturally afraid of the darkness, the shadows, because that's where the monsters hide, right? We're going out into the dark, scary forest. We don't know what's going to leap out at us. But we see that through our inner transformation, there's a little beetle at the bottom of that card. That's our transformation. Through our very own transformation, we are pushing the sun up over the horizon. We're bringing the dawn. Okay? It's going to be a new day for you. I really believe that. And the forgive and forget is very important because it says awake. It says arise and awaken and see a new sunrise. So it is definitely a reference to this card exactly and saying all of our nightmares are going to be over. We're headed toward tranquility and blessings and bliss and miracles and love and community and affection. And we're dealing head on with our challenges right now, the shadow side of things, right? That we are going to be giving and receiving love and affection. And we're going to put an end to suffering. Okay? For ourselves, for those around us, and for the world at large, right? And maybe we're acting locally, but we're thinking globally here. But this is a doorway, and this is saying that the sun is just about to rise in your life. Okay? And I love that. Okay? And this is talking about the inner transformation. Something has to give way inside of us to let our fiery energy sort of take over, right? And to unleash our power so that we can, claim this crown of tranquility, of bliss, of love, of contentment. This is the pleasure of sort of winning the fight, okay? And I like that. I really, really do. We've got fire energy here and here. We've got, obviously, some water cards, quite a few of the water cards. 1, 2, 3, 4 water cards. We don't have any swords. Well, we have the swords here. We don't have any other swords cards. Okay? So I feel like there really is no doubt in your mind. Right now is all about building up the courage and the energy to face our fears and push through the darkness to get ourselves out of that dark, scary forest. Well, to get out of the bird cage, first we have to realize that there is a bird cage there. That's what the Nine of Swords is really revealing to us. Oh, there is pain and suffering in our life. Okay, now that I recognize that, I can do something about it. If we're never willing to look at the source of our pain and suffering, there's nothing we can do to alleviate that, right? So that is then bringing us back to our Five of Cups, because this is the card of like saying, something doesn't feel good inside of me, and I need to look at it. Anytime we get a 5, it's sort of showing us something that we can look at. It's trying to get our attention. It's like your emotions are saying, hey, over here, right? Look at me, acknowledge me. Because this is a feeling of pain and suffering and sorrow and sadness. This is a feeling of disappointment, a feeling of loss, okay? And it's under the surface. So I think that this is something that we have to recognize. If we're going to overcome it, if we're going to alleviate the pain, first we have to acknowledge, okay, there's pain. Then we have to look for the source of the pain so that we can pull it out. We can pull the thorn out of our paw here, And whether we're pulling it out or whether through our sheer tenacity and willpower, we're pushing it out. It's sort of we're healing, and through the process of healing, those thorns are just kind of popping out of our skin. However you want to look at it, we're not giving up. We're not just succumbing to the pain and suffering and saying, well, I guess that's just my life now, right? We're being proactive. I think that is absolutely beautiful. We are taking steps forward in the right direction to bring more love and more balance and more sunshine and more tranquility into our lives. That's the goal here. And the work, I think, is for you to connect with your people, your pets, your plants, your people. You're You're forging really strong bonds between you and your healthy relationships, you know. I think that we're getting, we're bringing more love into our lives. I feel like despite the pain and suffering, that's kind of your counteractant. Your I don't know, it's like your medicine against the pain and suffering is to radiate love. You know, I feel like right now you are trying to be as positive as you can. You're trying to be hopeful and optimistic. You're trying to be compassionate and loving with the people around you in order to bring people together and in order to advance your life in the right direction. So you're not somebody who experiences negative energy around you and then you become a bitter and sour negative person too. No, because I think you're the remedy against that. Okay? And we're trying to be proactive. We're trying to find positive things that we can do to spread love around, to make connections with people. Okay? To be more connected. Yeah. Especially with that Six of Cups. This is a card of community. I think you're relying on your people. You're focusing on those people that are around you. Again, pets, plants, you know, people that that love and support you, and you love and support them. Okay? Down beneath the surface, like we said, is this Five of Cups. So things are not perfect in your life. Rarely will they ever be. Okay? But sometimes we have to acknowledge where we feel a little bit of discomfort, disappointment, pain, suffering, or sorrow. Okay? In order for us to do something about it. Okay? Because we know what our work is. Our work is to spread love and joy, to make connections with people, to improve the quality of our life. We're trying to be proactive and take positive steps, right? Now, to do that, we kind of have to know what direction to take a step. If we just pretend everything's okay, then no direction we take really matters much, okay? So it's kind of like saying if we know what we don't want, we know what we're supposed to fight for and fight against, okay? So the Knight of Cups in the background here, this is looking at the future. This is the card that looks at the future and says, I don't know what I want in life. Like, I don't know what color the wallpaper will be. I don't know what kind of carpet I want. I don't know what kind of furniture I'm going to have. I don't know the details, but I know how I want it to feel. And that's what this card is. Imagining a future that feels happy and content and loving. It feels like bliss. It feels like a blessing, right? And this is our goal. Our goal is the feeling tone of life, not necessarily, I want this much money, I want this kind of car, I want this kind of house, you know. It's I want my life to be full of fill in the blank, love, contentment, peace, tranquility. I want it to be full of harmony and light, you know, these kinds of things. I know how I want it to feel. Don't really care how it looks, but as long as it's got that feeling, then I know, right? But what we're looking at so far is we're looking at the future and we're thinking, okay, Nine of Swords, that's not, what I want is a Nine of Cups, not a Nine of Swords. I want happiness, not suffering and misery. So then we kind of feel like, okay, once I can admit that, I can start making changes in order to bring more harmony into my life. Okay. Now, Spirit's referencing a tattoo that you don't like, or you try to get it covered up, or it is a cover-up. Yeah. There's some kind of a cover it up tattoo or something like this, right? Anyway, the Knight of Cups, again, is a card of giving and receiving love and affection. So when we're looking at our relationships, we're saying, is this reciprocating? Is this a mutual respect? Is this relationship a two-way street? What's the future of this situation for you? And I think we need to do this for every relationship, every situation we're in. What's the future here? Is it a Nine of Swords? Is it a Nine of Cups? Right? What is the outcome that I see happening on this path? Well, if we're looking at the future, we're thinking, I kind of see a Nine of Swords up there. Well, then that's how we know that, okay, well, we got to change something here. We got to change course. We got to get our life back to this tranquility. We got to get back in harmony with our true selves here. We got to get back into harmony with our destiny, harmony with God. God is deity. Back in harmony with our path, you know, with our goals, right? With the star, let's say. Start navigating by that starlight. if we look at the future and we think, okay, we've got a 9 of Cups out in the distance, perfect, then you know what? Continue on the same course. But you have a card of change. So as we're looking into the future and we're seeing sort of bad news, we know that we've got to change. We've got to make some adjustments. Okay? We've got to change some things around to bring about more harmony. Because right now there's discord. Right now there's a 5 inside of you and there's a 5 outside of you. But what the 5 of Wands is really saying is, okay, you know what? Since I can see the suffering up ahead, I know I have to make some changes, and I've got to fight to do that. I've got to exert my energy. This is the card of Saturn in Leo. So this is kind of a discipline. It's like, okay, I need to do some things. I need to make some changes. I've got to fight against what I don't want and fight for what I do want, so that I can start to change that future. It's kind of like Marty McFly in Back to the Future. He's got that photograph of his family. And every so often he pulls it out and he sees things are starting to change. People are fading in, people are fading out, you know. So every time we look at the future, we see, okay, what is the projected outcome? Not very good. Let's change it. And we make those changes with all the thoughts, words, and deeds of the present moment. It's everything we do right now, right, is going to change the future for us. And we know that it's going to require willpower. It's going to require that we bring the fight. Okay, that we wrestle against things both in ourselves and around us. That we sort of advocate for ourselves. That we are proactive. Okay. And then in the future position, 7 of Wands, we are going to kind of feel like it's an uphill battle. This is a card of kind of a David and Goliath energy. We may feel discouragement moving forward. This is the card that says don't quit. This is the card that says whatever happens, fight for what you want in life, fight for what you believe, fight for who you are, fight for your family, fight against all the negative energy. Okay, and don't give up. That you love yourself enough that you are not going to quit. Feels like a family thing mostly, right? Especially with that 6 of Cups. This is the card that says you may feel as if you're just banging your head against a wall and nothing's changing. Persist. Do not give up. We may have to alter our approach. We may have to consider the dynamics. We may need another tool out of our toolbox in order to deal with some things in life. But we can advocate for ourselves, and we're never going to give up the fight. We might have to change our tactics a little bit, okay? There may be some forms of codependency happening in your life. What we don't want to do is repress any of our emotions, okay? With the 5 of Cups, it's underneath the surface, so I feel like you tend to ignore how you feel sometimes. And in that context, the 5 of Wands is a little bit of a temper. Because we sometimes repress our emotions, they bubble up to the surface, and they are expressed through frustration and anger and short-temperedness and that sort of thing. Okay? So if we learn to get in touch with our emotions and learn how to direct our energies, we will find more tranquility in our life. Guaranteed. And we'll be more than capable of facing all the challenges of the future. But repressing the emotions is not the answer. That's going to lead to kind of uncontrollable fire energy. We want to be able to direct this fire energy. So it's really important that we tap into how we feel. This is saying we acknowledge how we feel. We don't have to identify it. We don't have to attach ourselves to the feeling and cling to it, especially if it's a negative emotion, right? But we want to recognize it, okay? And we also have to recognize how we've been expressing our energy. Have we been short-tempered? Have we been kind of, snippy with people? Have we been more kind of frustrated or easily stimulated by sort of external things, right? Have we been a little reactive, maybe? And once we start looking at both of these things, we can make the choice to live our life with more peace, more tranquility, and that's going to help us get through all of the challenges going forward. Okay? Transformation that we see with the beetle of the moon card pushing the sun up to create a new day, transformation begins with seeing, witnessing. And that's what the fives are, trying to draw your attention. Pay attention to how you feel. Pay attention to how you behave. Witness your automatic behavior and make changes to bring more tranquility into your life, and you will be more equipped to face the challenges of the future. And the long-term future will be able to change this path of suffering into a path of happiness. Now, path of the serpent, we start with the tower. This is overcoming ego, right? This is like just a kind of looking at ourselves and admitting, yeah, sometimes I lose my temper. Sometimes I don't say the right thing. Sometimes I behave in a way that I'm not really so happy about, right? So I'm willing to sort of tear down the facade and be really open with myself and say, yeah, okay, I need some shifting of my energy around. A tower is kind of an overnight change. To me, this feels like we're turning over a new leaf, perhaps. And I think that leaf is this internal transformation, but I think it's also like removing blockages from our lives, both internal and external blockages, and having the courage to say no to things, to say goodbye to things that are no longer serving us, to say goodbye to things that are holding our potential, holding our energy in. Because when we hold that energy in, it's going to seep through the cracks and it's going to come out as bad behavior. Aggressive behavior or anger or short-temperedness or frustration, that sort of thing. Impatience, right? A lot of stuff up here. But if we just can get rid of all that at once and we feel a little bit free, then we can invite more tranquility into our lives. Okay? So your general energy is one of transformation right now. In your environment, we see a Princess of Cups. I think we have to understand how our emotions, our repressed emotions, have been influencing our behavior in unconscious ways. These two positions in the dove and serpent spread are very, very intimately connected. This is what's inside of you, but we're not aware of, and this is how we're behaving in our relationships. Okay? So it could be that I think it's up here too. Our emotions are influencing our behavior in unconscious ways. Okay? And I think that when we pay attention to what our emotions really are, how we really are feeling about things, then we can sort of direct the Princess of Cups a little bit, and we don't have to be so reactive. We can put a little space between the feeling and the behavior. Okay? This is also the card, I think, of being very honest about how we feel and what we want, having desires, and seeking out things that are going to bring us the kind of nourishment that we want. We have desires. We're human beings. We're all going to have them. I desire food. I desire rest. I desire water. Kind of basic needs sometimes, right? And there are healthy and unhealthy desires, And I think that if we are making the conscious and wide awake choices about how to be proactive, we are choosing to follow those desires that are bringing us positive nourishment. Choosing, I'm hungry. I have the choice between unhealthy satisfaction of that desire or a healthy satisfaction of that desire. Okay? I can choose ice cream, or I can choose salad, vegetables, fruit, healthy protein. And I can go that direction. Now, sometimes I may feel like my soul needs a little nourishment, so I'm going to have the ice cream. My emotions need a little bit of gratification, so yeah, I can reward myself with a little bit of that. And that'll be good, but we have to do so consciously. Whether we're choosing ice cream or the vegetables doesn't matter. What matters is that we feel like we are being nourished in a positive way. And when we look at the future, we think this is a good thing, not a suffering. This isn't going to lead to more suffering. It's going to lead to happiness. Okay, having the ice cream may feel like it's leading to happiness, and it does for now, while I'm eating it. But maybe the next day, my stomach doesn't feel so good. Maybe in the long run, if I do that too often, I'm not really going to be happy about it. Okay? So the short-term goals, the short-term indulgences, the short-term gratification is one thing. But we have to also, like the Knight of Cups, look at the future and think, what's the long-term consequence? Okay? What's the long-term consequence? And it's going to be a struggle. And life is a struggle between short-term gratification and long-term happiness. I could be gratified right now, but suffer in the long run, or I can be happy in the long run, but I might have to be a little more disciplined with myself in the short term. Okay, and so it is kind of a difficult thing because it feels like we're sort of wrestling with ourselves a little bit. We have the Moon card here, which I feel like is seriously a wake-up call for you. I feel like we are forgiving and forgetting anything, ourselves and anybody in our life. We're moving on, right? We're pushing the solar disk up over the horizon, and it's going to be a new day, a new dawn, a rebirth right now. Okay? This isn't just about food. This isn't just about physical nourishment, spiritual nourishment, emotional, mental nourishment. Okay? Through relationships, through choices, through the things that we allow into our aura that are feeding our soul in some form or fashion. We have to have more control over that, what we consume, right? And I think we're going to change this 9 of Swords to a 9 of Cups. I bet the mystery card will be the 9 of Cups. Let's take a look at it now. Yeah, it's got to be. We know it's not going to be the 9 of Swords, so we're not going to get a repeat of that one. But 9 of Cups would be real nice. Let's see what we have. Oh, it's the sun. It's the sunrise, right? Arise and awaken, see a new sunrise. And that's exactly what we're doing here. It's a new day. We're being reborn. We're being reborn with full control over ourselves, with full awareness. This is an illumination. This is an enlightening, right, of our souls. And this is, I think, us choosing love and tranquility and harmony and healthy nourishment and the right healthy relationships. Things that are going to nourish our souls, right? The 6 is also a reference to the sun. This is, in fact, the sun in Virgo anyway. So it is a solar card. All the 6s are solar cards. So I like that we have that reference, and I love that this is that new sunrise, that we have transformed the darkness into light. We're getting out of the dark, scary forest, and we're getting into full illumination. We can see the dark, scary forest isn't so dark and scary, except at night. You know, we're afraid of the dark. Let's be the light. And now this dark, scary forest doesn't seem so dark, doesn't seem so scary. Now maybe it seems like a garden, you know? I love this. I think this is really fantastic. This is the card of success, health, and wealth. This is the solar crown. I feel like you're claiming your crown here, okay? That crown of autonomy, that crown of consciousness, that crown of divine inspiration. Yeah. Now we're going to do an extended reading. Okay, we're going to do an I Ching hexagram. We're going to do some oracle cards. If you want to join the channel, you can click on the link in the corner. There's also a link in the video description. But because this is a bonus reading, we're just going to go straight into the extended. Okay, it'll be for everybody to see, and so they can decide if they would like to join the channel and give everybody a taste of how we do the extended readings. Okay, new readings for Leo on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Bonus reading. Feel like we kind of needed it. Okay. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together. All right, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for sticking around. This is the extended reading, and we're going to do an I Ching hexagram. We're going to do some oracle cards and some tarot cards. We're going to leave all of this stuff here because we like to see how the energy develops and what details come through and if there are any sort of reactions between the cards, okay? So your hexagram today is hexagram 21. All right. 21. We don't get this one very often. And this is biting through, right? Biting through. So we have this idea of sort of nourishment, what we're consuming, right? What we're nourishing ourselves with. Yeah. Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now we have this idea of like we're chewing on it, right? So we're selecting what to nourish ourselves with, and we're biting through. The thunder and the lightning bite through. The ancient sovereigns accordingly clarified the penalties when declaring the laws. Biting through success, it's worthwhile to execute justice. And justice was sort of this, it's a reference to the Libra energy, which I was it was coming to my mind while I was doing the main reading, because it's this idea of sort of value judging our life, and being able to make high-level wisdom and discernment decisions in real time, to evaluate the things in our life and make good choices, right? So I like that we have that reference, executing justice, yeah. Make clear the right way of doing things and the consequences for not doing them that way. There will be success, right? 6 of Cups. And it will be good to ensure things are handled fairly. Further the work through careful discernment between what is true and false, right and wrong, correct and incorrect. There is a connection between cause and effect, where consequences are always based on the inexorable laws of nature. To receive this hexagram indicates a need to make some important distinctions in the matter at hand. Figure it out. Those who administer laws should emulate the ancient kings in first clarifying them before executing them, in order to avoid mistakenly injuring life. Get all of your facts straight before proceeding. That you don't know or understand something might be implied. Okay, I think this is right on the money. That we are choosing to have that high level wisdom and discernment. Again, we have to feel that something's wrong. We have to look for the sort of cause of it or the source of it, and see how some of our actions or the situations of life are leading down a bad way, so that we know what things to change. So we know what kind of justice to meter out, right? Let's do an angel number as a mystery card. We're going to do an oracle of empowerment. The candle of hope. I am hopeful. Every day I make the choice to be positive. No matter what happens around me, I guard the flame of faith within. At the moment when all feels lost and I face a dead end, hope lights a new way. So if we're looking at the future and we're seeing a 9 of swords, we think, dead end. It's miserable. Woe is me. Nope. There's hope. Faith will light a new way. Hope lights a new way. Let's do an oracle of the radiant sun. The quarrel. The quarrel. Mars in Cancer. The Knight of Cups is a Cancer energy. Okay, you might want to watch the Cancer reading if I were you, actually. I think it might be useful for you. In fact, yes, indeed, I think it is. I think it will be useful for you. The quarrel here, I think, is us realizing what we need to fight for and what we need to fight against. Okay? In order to change our future, we have to be willing to change things right now in the present. To change the way we do things, change the way we interact with people, change the people we interact with, right? Let's do an oracle of creativity. The worry. Worry is attachment to a particular outcome and the fear that it will not come to pass. Or, in this case, the fear that it will come to pass. The fear that we are doomed, the fear that there are only negative consequences in life, right? So we worry about the future. Well, we're not worried about it now. We're fighting. We're making changes. If we take care of the present, all of our thoughts, words, and deeds in the present moment, the future will take care of itself. We're guaranteed to have a happier life if we focus on doing the things we know we need to do and being proactive right now. Okay? Let's do an oracle of Metatron. The boundaries. Set them daily. Yes, indeed. Set them for ourselves and set them for other people. Especially if we're wrestling between vegetables or ice cream. Well, what's my personal rule? Well, ice cream 1 day a week, maybe, right? Something like this. I had some yesterday. It was delicious. And so we set those boundaries. We set some rules for ourselves to keep us kind of in line and say, well, nope, today's not my ice cream day, so I'm going to say no. And so there's no worry, there's no frustration, there's no wrestling. It's discipline, but that's the rule I've set for myself. And also boundaries with other people. We're not letting anybody come over and just put their feet on our couch, right? Well, Dave Chappelle kind of thing. We're not just going to let anybody come over and impose themselves upon our energy. We can shut our doors. We can turn off our phone. We can say no. Okay? Sometimes it takes willpower to say no. Even when people are imposing on us, let's say somebody's always asking you for a favor. You can say no. They might get mad. Who cares? Okay? You don't have to do them a favor every single day. You have the right to say no to yourself and to others and have those boundaries. Okay? Because the boundary is how we are able to grow the life that we want to live. The boundaries are really self-discipline. Yeah. Now, for the path of the serpent, we're going to use the Pamela Smith Tarot. We have a 6 of Pentacles. That is great success, right? That is material success. That is like we're feeling good. Life is we're sort of tearing down the walls, and we're rebuilding such better gardens, right? Better structures, better boundaries, a better life. Yeah, that's really awesome. We have the Devil card, which is temptation, right? And again, it's kind of the Princess of Cups, kind of reacting. However I feel is how I'm going to react. And I don't think we can live our life that way all the time, right? The devil is kind of the temptation or the attachment to certain things that are going to sort of motivate our behavior, okay? So we have to free ourselves from negative influences. We have to be able to say no to things that are trying to tempt us to do something we know we shouldn't be doing at the moment. Okay, so it's all about discipline. We have the Temperance card here, which is really important because we know that the dark, scary forest, any of this nighttime energy, is like the blacksmith's anvil. Okay, going through the dark, scary forest is the equivalent of putting yourself through a challenging situation where you're going to have to really step up. You know, you're going to have to transform. You're going to have to, like that little beetle on that moon card. We're going to have this inner transformation so that I can get through this situation. It's forcing us to become something greater than what we were. And that's the pressure cooker, that's the blacksmith's anvil, that's the challenge and the trial and the tribulation of the Temperance card. And of course we have a 7 of Pentacles. We need to have that patience and that diligence, and we need to continue having the discipline day after day in order to build something. The overnight change is kind of just a metaphor, right? Nothing happens overnight. Okay? Things will never be the same. It will feel like an overnight change inside of you, but we know that the 9 of Swords, just like Marty McFly's photograph, his little Polaroid, remember Polaroids? His little photograph in his pocket, and every step of the way in his journey, he'd look at the photograph and it would be changing a little bit. It wasn't just suddenly like that, everything's fine again. So our 9 of Swords will transform into a 9 of Cups, but it happens slowly over time. Okay? It's a drop in the bucket every day is gonna do it. Okay? That's very important, I think. Mystery card over here, angel number 0550. Your intuition, inspired action, beauty, art, socializing, flow, potential, romance. That's all 6 of Cups type of stuff. Get some fresh air or call some of your pals over. Take a look around you. There's so much natural beauty waiting to be discovered. Either you will soon become involved in an exciting new project or you will go out on a date. Put your charisma to use everywhere. Spread your charm around. Radiate your light like this glorious sun. Claim your crown. Claim your life. Transform your 9 of Swords into a 9 of Cups, and that's a blessing. I love that. I want to thank you for being here. I really do appreciate you all. I appreciate you greatly. I love you deeply, and I hope to see you again very soon.